Scientists are constantly comparing different forms of matter. All of these instruments of measurement help to determine characteristics of specific substances. One important quality of a substance is the density of the material it is made from. Density is the mass of a substance per a certain unit of volume. Maybe you remember the old joke about which is heavier, a ton of lead or a ton of feathers. Well, they each weigh a ton, so neither is heavier than the other. However, the feathers would require much more room because their density is much less than the density of lead. Each kind of matter has its own density. So one way to identify substances is by calculating their density. To do that, we must know the volume and mass of the object. Density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. The mass of something is found with a balance scale. The volume may be a little more challenging to find. If the object is shaped like a box with straight sides and edges, then we simply measure the length, width, and height of the object. Then we multiply the three numbers times each other to get an answer. The formula is length times height times width. For an object with an odd shape, we can use a special method called water displacement. An object submerged in water will displace or push aside an amount of water equal to the volume of the object. So we can measure the volume of this rock by first recording a starting amount of water in the graduate. Then when the rock is lowered into the graduate, the water will rise. The new level is recorded, and the difference between the two water levels is compared. Subtract the starting level from the final level to get the volume of the submerged object. It just so happens that 1 milliliter of water equals 1 cubic centimeter. So every milliliter of water that rises is equal to 1 cubic centimeter of volume. The density of water happens to be 1 gram per cubic centimeter. The density of this piece of wood can be determined by measuring the mass and volume of the wood. The mass is 10 grams. Volume is equal to length times width times height. Each side of the cube of wood is 2.5 centimeters, so here is the calculation. As you can see, the volume is 15.625 cubic centimeters. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. The mass is 10 grams, and the volume is 15.625 cubic centimeters. So the density of the wood is 0.64 grams per cubic centimeter. If we place the wood in water, it floats, because the density is less than the density of water, which is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. So objects with densities greater than water sink, and objects with densities less than water float.